Hello and welcome to episode 52 of Let's Talk Tactics. I'm your host, Zach Burrell.
I am Daniel Boone.
I'm Luck.
And this week, oh boy, we've had a lot going on the past couple weeks, so we have a lot to catch up on here. I think what we're gonna do is kind of speed run through a lot of the EX upgrades, unless there's something that we really want to hone in and talk about. And also, heads up, I apologize. Probably already realized by now if you're watching on YouTube, but I'm lagging a little bit on my end. It's a little choppy, so I apologize for that. But hopefully the audio is at least fine, and maybe I'll catch up on the audio releases, and you won't even be able to tell. But also, if we released a podcast every single week, consistently, all the time, with no mistakes, this would have been the exact year of episodes, 52 weeks, But yeah, I actually don't even know when the official year anniversary was. I think it was like July or something, because we've had some
Yeah,
weeks that have gone or
man.
whatever, and holiday stuff. And speaking of holidays,
Kudos,
wait, sorry.
kudos to the first person who comments and below, like I found the first one.
Yeah,
It was this
right.
date or whatever.
And also, speaking of holidays, we're gonna try to get back on the Wednesday recording schedule, and then releasing, hopefully, because I can't edit on Thursdays, either Wednesday nights or Friday nights. We'll see what I can manage. But that's gonna start the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. So I think next week, or rather in 3 days at this point, we won't be recording another episode. But then the end of hopefully class match, we will have a whole episode to talk about. But anyway, let's get into this.
Hopefully, class match.
Yeah, hopefully class match. I think we're all predicting it, even though it's going to be during, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, it's going to be kind of rough. But or if you're a crazy Black Friday shopper, then maybe you'll be out for your 18-hour shopping cycle, and you'll miss your
Just
matches or something. But
waiting in
just
line,
in line, actually,
playing
that's
matches.
perfect. That's actually perfect. Yeah, right. Like you're in that early morning line waiting to get in the store, and it's like everybody
I haven't
tramples in. You're
experienced
like, but
any of
wait,
this
no.
because I have Thanksgiving like a month earlier, and it's not nearly anywhere as crazy as that. So I've
Oh,
never like I've seen stories and I've seen like videos of like people rushing into a store when it opens. I'm like, you guys are crazy in the states, man.
Of children being pushed over in supermarkets and like for a TV or something by adults. Yeah, that stuff, it's insane. And sometimes I forget you're from Canada, and that's actually, yeah, you get to watch from the outside like, you crazy motherfuckers. But all right, so let's get into a bunch of these. We're going back to Halloween. We're bringing it back to super long ago. So let's go into Halloween Lolita. I think what we're gonna do is cover the upgrades and then also the Job 25 skills. And then if we wait, what's that face, Daniel?
oh, sorry, nothing.
Oh, I thought you had a thought. I'm like, because actually, I'm almost thinking to myself, did we already talk about these two, Ryu and Halloween Leela with Rindell on the last episode? I almost think we did, because I'm looking at her last level skill, and I think we mentioned that because of 120s being max, you don't actually have to have the level 3 passive anymore. You can do the level 4 passive. I feel like we talked about that already.
It's been too long.
Shit.
Yeah, I think we did, and then I think we were talking about
Yeah.
Frederica next week. I think that's what we said when we said
Okay,
it, right? 'Cause
cool.
it
We can
seems
skip these
familiar.
two.
Yeah,
Go check out
Okay.
the last episode. If we didn't talk about it, we'll give them a mention at the beginning of next time. All right, go to Frederica. She has a TMR called Snuggles. Step 1. The name of the TMR skill, Sneaky Snuggles. It's fantastic. Decrease single target resistance by 20 for 2 turns when performing a crit. Really weird item. Kind of cool though. It's just like, I can't. Have you guys used this yet? Did you, either of you max her? But actually, I should start with that.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't pull her.
You did, Daniel?
Yeah,
Have you used her TMR at all?
I have. I tested it out with like the guild raid stuff that's happening. For units or for teams that like didn't have like single target res, like break or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it's I don't know, it's niche. It's got 2 casts. That's kind of cool. It's a decent TP cost. It's not the greatest. But I honestly I don't know. Like only being able to use it on units that you can kind of rely on getting crits. It's not the greatest. I mean, like you might see it get used on Frederica, but really, like you got to trade bells or other popular TMRs to use it. So, I mean, like maybe we'll see it in class match, but I mean, honestly, not the greatest fan of it.
I
It's
just
cool
think that
though. Cool.
the 2 turns thing is what gets me. Like, why not make it 3
It's
turns?
weird. Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
do have to rely on actually hitting a crit. and you have to take a turn off to use the skill. I feel like they could have made it 3 turns and it wouldn't have been any sort of busted, but I guess do you have the page up, Daniel, for Frederica?
Yeah. Yeah. Halloween Fred.
So you have her. Do you want to go over a little bit of this? We don't have to go into like every single detail, obviously, since we have so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
but just whatever is awesome.
Honestly, to me, she feels like a little bit stronger, like slashy version of Ziza. Like she doesn't have the greatest evasion in my experience. I've been fighting a lot of her in arena the last couple weeks, just because of like the focus on like Earth stuff. There have been times when like the other team focuses like exclusively on evasion, and she's been able to be pretty dodgy. So she's a little bit more dodgy than Ziza in my in my opinion, a little bit. No, she's definitely more evasive than Ziza, but more often than not, like she's not. You don't focus like they haven't been focusing on evasion for her, and so she doesn't really have that great of defensive like um stuff going for her. And so that in my opinion doesn't really make her as worth it for like investing in her than like say even like Halloween like Ryu back in the day. It was worth it. I mean, just for the TMR, but he was a pain in the ass for a while. And obviously Leela, speaks for herself. She's got really cool abilities.
All right, real
I'm sure
quick.
people have seen by now.
Fun fact: Ziza is 93rd for luck on the index.
Yeah. Wait until like have you seen her?
So
Have you
bad.
seen her second mastery?
No,
Like
I
in
haven't.
JP, she gets like her evasion goes from 10 to 30,
Whew.
just like flat like mastery.
Crazy.
So that's cool. But so yeah, Ziza gets kind of a buff for evasion. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I just wish Halloween Frederica was a little bit. There's just something missing, and alongside like the vision card Halloween monsters that we're probably about to talk about, like I can see like Catone using that vision card and then like pairing Halloween Frederica with Oberon, and to have like this Earth like Pierce team. But yeah, it's kind of wonky. I don't know if I would use her in place of I don't know even uh, I think Moraga has been making some waves recently too. So um, in terms of her like X job stuff, I mean, she gets this really awesome like her pressure flurry upgrades to drain flurry. It's been great using her against Ramu in these guild raids and like just getting back like 10k HP or something, especially with the defense break. And her 25 skill is increases Pierce and Magic Res by 30% for 3 turns to herself. So I was really hoping that she would be more bruisery, but I guess I haven't tested how much of a bruiser that she can turn out to be. Like it doesn't seem like she can get there as much as say yours is Zazan. That's about all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, for these newer units, we can go over a little bit of their skills more. It's just more of like the EX only upgrades. We'll glance through. So, are any of these buffs something really noteworthy that you'd say? I think having the 25 evasion attached to a 20% single target reds is a pretty decent self buff, especially for an evasive unit or units that's supposed to be evasive.
Yeah, the problem is she has so many conflicting buffs that are all amazing. Um, like you're probably going to see ready to engage be used the most because of the getting the AP back on a crit, and she crits a lot. Um, and the fact that it's an ally buff as well, so like with the AI you can kind of help her stay back with the team or whatever. I haven't seen the AI use a lot of her defensive footwork buff at all, but I honestly haven't seen her much in manual play, so I think that's really what I'm missing is how she fares in manual. So
Okay.
yeah, jury's out on that still for me.
Locke,
I
do you have
faced
any?
against
Okay.
somebody who used her in manual, and the team was like her. I think it was Ketone and your Zazan, and it was like all evasive, and it was pretty hard for me to hit her. But and obviously this guy also used defensive footwork as well. So because I mean it was manual, and it was pretty hard to hit her. I actually wasn't able to reliably hit her, but I was able to kill both Zazan and Ketone, and eventually I just ran away from her and won. So
There we
I,
go.
I mean, it's 3 against 1. I
Yeah,
mean,
you have
he
to.
could have
Yeah.
chased down one, but yeah, I don't know why I had so much trouble hitting her because I don't see why like she doesn't have anything insane that makes her evasion so high. So I mean, maybe because you're seeing her in arena and she doesn't really use defensive footwork, maybe that's why she's not so evasive. But with that, yeah, it was really hard for me to kill her.
I mean, she
Um,
has like 13th in luck on the index, so she's not like a slouch in that department. But I guess if you're comparing that to Zazan, who's got number 2, it's 293 versus 262. That's a big gap between second and 13th place. So
I think so. Like, Zazan doesn't have any like plus evasion buff, right?
he has a on his mastery. I think he does have a
Right,
+5.
but he doesn't have like something
Oh,
like
buff.
defensive footwork. Right. So maybe
I don't
that's the
think so.
difference then. Like maybe she makes up for it with that buff. And Zazan did use Luel's TMR, or somebody in the team used Luel's TMR, but that was like ridiculously hard to hit.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I found. But yeah, she seems like she is pretty evasive with the with that kind of setup. That's like it was really hard for me to hit her. So I just gave up and ran away.
Yeah, so I guess hopefully for the people that invested in her, hopefully it's been worth it in terms of an Earth evade unit. I mean, it does good at its job if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and her surprised you didn't mention her LB because I know you love those. It's a 200 damage mod with a pre-damage slash resist penetration self buff by 30% and a chance to blind. So, I mean, if you ever get that off, which granted she is one of those units where physical melee range damage dealer for the most part, who doesn't always build up to those crazy high AP values enough to use the LB unless they're like a bells holder. But if you ever get that blind off, I mean, it's going to help a lot with evasive teams. It just sucks that she has a ninja sub job as an evasive unit and no Utsusemi.
It does, yeah.
It's just a weird blind spot, pun intended, of some sub job skill allocations that she just kind of got the shit side of. Would you think you'd use her on Dragoon? Because I could see like Dragon Standard being useful maybe, and then I guess you could do jumps to be like that extra evasive, or just stay in the air with the level 1 jump for a while, come back down. So
yeah, for me it's kind of a toss up. I haven't really used her on Ninja for the Decider of Fate accuracy bonus. It's been between Dragoon and her Duelist sub. I actually really like her main sub job. The fact that you can just straight up decrease accuracy as well as blinds and like buffing evasion and stuff like that. And I really like her offensive footwork, like increasing move by 1. Like you don't really need the jump from Dragon Standard if you just get the move,
true.
because she has base jump of 2, right?
Yeah.
So increasing move by 1 and increasing crit so that she keeps critting. I really like her main sub job, like I said.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
if you pair her with like Oberon or I don't know, fucking Eileen or something, like probably want to go Dragoon.
It's another unit that her main job's fence, or what is it, fencer or duelist? Shit. Oh, it is duelist.
Duelist.
We
Yeah.
thought it was gonna be fencer, right? Once we saw it
Yeah.
in JP. I was about to say, dang, another like stabby sword class that does slash
Right.
damage and not pierce.
And
but
like as a real life fencer, like I just kind of
right.
relate to that.
But yeah, I guess my last note is that I do like, because you said you would use her on her duelist sub job. She actually has sufficient number of TP skills that are desirable to make that a thing where she can actually do her full job and keep herself sustained with that sub job that gives you 2 skills. So yeah, interesting unit. I threw a couple pulls at her banner, I think, like on the step up to try to go to the 3rd stab, get her my Alchrist tickets, whatever, and then see what happens. But they're not Alchrist, Prism tickets. Did not get her, but I haven't seen a whole lot of buzz about her, to be honest. But definitely a cool unit. So yeah, as you said, we'll hop in real quick to the Halloween Monsters VC. So it's another kind of mono Earth VC, unless you're gonna put it on Halloween Lolita, because Halloween card, you gotta have your off element pairing. But what's that?
It's so dumb, but
Yeah,
anyway.
flavor, right? So I guess HP is decent, 384 attack, but it does have attack 158. So kind of sucks to be Halloween Ryu with that, so it doesn't help us magic, but the other bonuses are pretty good. So bestowed luck 20% to Earth units only. If you are Frederica or Ryu, you get Earth attack 20, which is pretty sweet. That's pretty good for bestowed. If you're Halloween Lilo, you get healing power and magic, but I'm not going to give you the percents. The party effect, so you get agility 15%. So here's the mono earth, or rather a second mono earth. agility 15% card. After what's that thing called? The
Something stag.
Elaphicura.
Yeah.
Oh man, we'll,
I
we'll get to
say
that later. But
Elaphicurus, yeah.
oh shit, that one's not 15%. That's only
It's not 15
8%.
though. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Okay, I completely misread that. All right, I'm even more glad I didn't get the card. But okay, so this is the 15% Earth card. I lied. It's just a one of. But 8 Spirit is its secondary effect. So that's, I mean, it's good to have in a world where you see Unas all the time, and I mean, just Mono Light in general. There's a lot of magic going around. You have Black Rose Helena. I'm always happy to get a little extra Spirit, even though a lot of it gets penetrated. And then also the max effect is Pierce 20. So it's kind of, I think Earth now has a lot of those covered, where you can have the 20% in the various 5 types. Off the top of my head, I don't know if there's one missing. If it's strike, then, meh.
It's
But
missing a straight attack buff.
what's that?
It's missing a attack 50%.
Oh no, I meant resistance type. So does it have
Oh,
slash,
gotcha. Okay.
pierce, strike, missile, and magic now? Which I think it has most of those. But either way, Earth has gotten a ton of support recently. So I mean, we're about to talk about Oberon and stuff too, and definitely good to be an Earth main. Shout out to you, Mako. I know, except for
Earth
his
Master.
except his wallet is probably hurting also, because this is a lot of viz to dump so quickly, one after another. But any specific notes about the card, or just kind of, it's a good card, and I definitely am glad I got it. I'm assuming, did you guys also get it?
I did not.
You did not.
Yeah, I picked it up.
Oh.
Was there a reason you didn't, for like saving purposes, or?
Yeah, saving and overall, um I felt I don't really run mono element teams anyway, and usually I just use Black Rose Helena's 15% agility card,
Okay.
and that's so it wasn't worth it for me. So and I am trying to save for the upcoming Final Fantasy 15. So
Sweet.
that's what.
What were you saying, Dana?
I like the bestowed luck bonus. And like obviously Frederica and Ryu getting the Earth Attack 20 is nice. But for like an Earth Evade team, it's like using Typhon on a Wind Evade team. For like Little Leela or whatever. How it increases her luck, I think it was, and maybe evasion. I can't remember. But so just the 20% luck. On top of like the Secrets of the Heart, like 35% luck for the party. This was kind of a no-brainer, like the missing like agility piece to the full evasion or theme. The fact that there's 20% luck bestowed was kind of like holy shit, like that just pushes it even higher, like Ketone 0% hit, blah blah blah. So yeah, it's pretty nice.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why the I was really hard. It was really hard for me to hit that Frederica because with the extra 20% luck from this, possibly because I mean you would probably put it on Frederica if you're running an all-res team, right? Because she gets extra stats from it.
And the agility, right? I mean, agility does have some amount of contribution towards the evasion. So if they were only using like a Titan and Secrets card before, and then like a third Earth card, like the Zazan one for damage or something, having this additional agility buff to the team helps everybody as well. So I forget what the exact contribution percents are for agility. It's not as significant as like luck is, obviously, because they're smaller numbers, but every bit adds up when it comes to, like, as soon as you're between 0 and 100%, every little bit actually it moves it so much. But if that's all the thoughts on that, let's hop into Lamega, who I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about. I know it kind of hurts, Daniel. You're a huge fan of the strike units, but I think in our little pre-planning before this, you said you weren't super excited about him.
Yeah, and I think we actually covered him. I swear I remember talking about like comparing him to Venera, with like the dual gunner. But the fact that he has the samurai subjob for illusion, I think we talked about him at some point. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I think it's cool that he can give the party like that illusion buff. Um, or he can pair up with like missile teams. I don't know, like OG Ryu or something with dual gunner and still keep his evasion up with smokescreen and stuff. I'm not super impressed with having faced him. I've mostly just like kind of seen him in arena over the last couple weeks. And it's just kind of been a no-brainer. Like, all right, I'm going to focus on that team because I know I can kill him in like one shot or something. So,
Oof, disrespect.
yeah, I mean, but I've been running Wind Evade, like kind of like no-brainer team just to take out the Earth teams, you know. So
Sure.
yeah, I haven't had the chance to really see him shine, and that's kind of a shame. But you know, he is kind of, wasn't he like a free unit? He's like the
Yeah, he's
dark.
the dark selection.
Yeah, yeah. So it would be nice to see him shine, but I haven't had the chance to yet.
Yeah, I'm looking through his ability board, or his like skill layout is very confusing on World Vision's Cal, because they have all the, you know, he gets this upgrade from this, and then there's like 2 entries for each one. I can't even tell like which ones. Like it looks like his Shifting Strike and Wicked Pummel both get upgraded from one of his like active abilities. So instead of Iron Body Stance, he gets Steel Paw Stance, which gives, it looks like it's the same buff except it upgrades those as well. So it's like a 1-2 kind of combo thing. But in terms of his actual upgrades, I think it's Demon Purger to Wrathful Purger is one of them. So the damage mod stays the same, but it's a defense debuff, so that's pretty decent to have on a pugilist class, because I think, is it what's his name, Raldor, his LB reduces, is it strike or fire? Because Rain does fire down, Raldor does strike down, right, on his LB, sorry.
I don't remember.
I think so.
Can't
Yeah.
remember. I was gonna say having this as like a defense down for pugilist would be very good, but I was gonna compare it to Raldor, but I think Raldor's strike, not defense down, so less of a comparison. Then he gets his job 25 ignores float, which is cool. So it's kind of like one of those where Monk gets, was it Terra Slash? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Terra something. I think it's Terra Slash, right?
I think it's Terra
Yeah.
Slash, which I've always been
Yeah.
confused. How is it a slash? You're punching classic. Come on, naming.
It's
But
from the original game.
I mean, sure, but the original game could be wrong too. But
Yeah.
no, but that is one of the only skills that like float helps to not get hit by, right? So this one specifically being like, I don't care, you still get hit, even if they have float, is kind of funny. It's just another strict upgrade over being a monk.
It's just stupid. They could have just removed the text and it would have hit floating.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. It's like a double negative.
Yeah, it's a weird, yeah.
I'm actually pretty sure it's just like Terror Slash, because it says ignore float on that too. So so it's
so it actually misses float. Like
yeah.
float. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you can actually you can't target float.
It ignores if they're floating.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
What a stupid way to write that.
And it's got one less range. It just does more damage.
Okay, so never mind. It is not necessarily a better Terra Slash then, because less. Oh, Jesus. All right, whatever. It has another one of those pugilist things with the modifier increase for every time you're taking damage, which is cool. But like you said, he's kind of easy to kill, so I can't imagine him like taking a bunch of hits and then coming in with this giant revenge punch. So, or sorry, vengeful Earth. But yeah, cool unit. Ghoulies free. Not a whole lot though. However, I think something that we could probably do a large portion of the podcast on, but let's try to not go too deep, is Oberon. Starting off with, I'm not gonna say game changing, but just like innovative new whatever effect on his TMR. So it is an armor, so at least that's restrictive, but it has the ability to nullify haste for enemies. Now it's also a self buff, which increases crit rate for 2 turns. Decreases crit rate for 2 turns for enemies as well, which I read that wrong the first time. That's for enemies also. That's crazy. Then also attack 40% for self. So correct me if I'm wrong, but is this just for the match, or is this also for 2 turns for enemies when on use? Do you guys know how this functions?
I haven't used it, so I don't know.
Shit, I was really leaning on you guys to know this.
I mean, I've been kind of building him slow, so I haven't really had the chance to use him much.
Okay.
My gut's telling me that it's for the match, the haste, the nullify haste, but you know, in the way that Uni, like one of his skills, like shuts down CT changes, you know. But actually, you know what? I don't care. Like, if you guys, anyone listening, if you have the chance to, like in your experience, like it's not for the whole match, please let us know, because apparently we are noobs and need to be updated.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I remember when we first saw him drop in JP, the PvP Discord went fucking bananas. Like, this is so insane. Nullifying across the map. There's no range on it. You just activate. It's like an EMP pulse that just goes out and turns off like this skill for your opponents. So it doesn't specify that specific effect for 2 turns like it does for the crit rate. So in my brain, it just means nullifies.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious because, I mean, what are the implications of that? Like there could
Well,
definitely be class matches where the main team is like, hey, Stega off of somebody, whether it's Titus or I think who's the unit that got the
Lemur.
yeah Lemray. So just turn that off, and now all of a sudden, like a lot of the
Yeah.
utility of these units is just gone. Or like a supportive time mage on a non-quicken stage, it's like, well, now they have even less they can do when quicken's banned. So it could be a super impactful thing, but it could also not be. So
Yeah.
because it's on armor and you have to use that as your TMR slot. So there's a lot to it, I think.
The problem with that I've had is that I've only seen it used in AI, both like by my team or the other team, and it's hard to tell if it's the whole match because the AI is like, well, I'm just not going to use haste,
Right.
so it's like I
Well, if
don't
you
know.
have the TMR, we can test it, I guess.
Yeah,
I also didn't realize Oberon was a cost 100 unit. Wait, was he half pull rate?
I think so.
Yeah,
Oh
he was.
shit! No wonder. 'Cause I went to one pity like just see if I could get him, and I got him on the 25% slot. But I remember some people were having trouble pulling him, and I was just like, oh, that's weird that like now people are mentioning it. But I didn't realize he was cost 100. Holy shit! Okay, so huh. Danny, do you want to go through this one too? Because again, I haven't really used him a lot. He's like level 60 or something. So
Yeah, I think his passive abilities deserve going over, especially like his tracer. That's like the one of the first ones he gets. The fact that not only does it make his like job 12 main job skill like um fucking like
lock on.
lock on, thank you, as long as it doesn't the target doesn't like shift heights. The fact that it increases AP is really nice because that's really just an understated mechanic. The fact that you can um build your AP from TP or attacking or whatever, even further per turn. It's just like I said, it's understated. So that's a really cool one. It was kind of hard to take that off on using him on like guild raids or whatever, because like I'm not trying to use Soaring Dragon Spear. So the fact that it's like one passive focusing on just one skill is kind of a drawback. But I think maybe that's why they tacked on the acquired AP buff. Um, to that passive just to make it worth it.
And I was saying
Um,
it's the other way around, right? Like he has an acquired AP passive that just happens to upgrade an ability
yeah,
because I mean,
yeah.
like the thieves have that same ability, just with no
And just
skill
Nobody
upgrade.
yeah.
It's just
nobody
AP
uses it
forwarding.
though.
So like this kind of incentivizes you to have that, which I think is
Yeah,
cool.
and the thing is like like three of his five passives are just really good. Dragon Spear Mastery, attack buff, defense pen buff, up to 40 defense pen, which is crazy. And then
Huh? Who'd have thunk? A 40 defense
yeah,
penetration passive
yeah,
on a new unit.
yeah, yeah. And then the difference between Viking Lore and Nightblade Mastery, if you want more HP on Oberon or if you want more accuracy. Um, Nightblade Mastery has a little bit more attack. It's attack 30 instead of attack 24 for Viking Lore. And you're obviously not going to really worry too much about how evasive he is. And he's got the Viking sub job. He gets unyielding protections. It's kind of nice having more missile res if you need it against like lightning teams or whatever. Even though there's a little bit more missile res pen nowadays, at least for Frederica. He's got an interesting like version of Dragon's Blade for reaction. The other two, Fighting Spirit, I don't think he's immune to Berserk, so you'd have to use Azure Dragon Armor to not get berserked, and that's only in the first 3 turns. Counter swing is just lame. So it's interesting because purple dragon's blade is piercing. So if you somehow manage to get that reaction, I think it'll hit everyone in that line. I haven't seen it go off on 2 units at once, but that's kind of my hope. I think that's pretty cool. It's only got a 20% chance to take effect, but um, yeah, I'd like to
Seen
see
the
that.
dragons one do it before from Dragoon. Hit 2 people.
What? There's a regular Dragon's Blade?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
pretty
are you
sure
talking about
the
uh,
reaction of Dragoon skills. Yeah, so I think I saw. I think it was a
just
wall
like
that did it. Let me double check, make sure I'm not an idiot. But
a not a Dragon's Blade, but just like a poke?
I was thinking Dragon Blade, not Pierce.
No, I don't.
I
It's
swear I've
just a
seen
single.
the counter go through too.
I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe not.
One of the problems with Oberon on AI, I have found is that like he tends to prioritize casting his Purple Dragon's Shield / Aegis. It's probably going to be Aegis, if you're using Oberon. So like while he's trying to buff that shield, and he moves forward, like he's really susceptible to taking damage. So especially in this canyon map that we've had on Arena, like he like runs forward, he gets attacked while he's charging, and then by the time he gets it off, like he's at I don't know, sub 50% HP or whatever, and it's kind of like why cast it in the first place. And so in my experience, it's like the AI needs to like have the chance to cast that before he starts taking damage, but he kind of prioritizes that I've seen. So it kind of gets in the way of like his Dragoon like higher jump, where he, if you can't get him to buff your team and he just runs straight at the enemy, he's gonna die sooner as usual. But at least he's tougher than like a soldier job, you just gets one shot. Like he doesn't really get one shot as far as I've seen. So um, there's that going for him. I really like his Royal Rend. The chance to stun is nice, and the fact that it's 2 hits, it's kind of worth the 32 AP. His Job 25 skill, Thunder Smite, is a guaranteed hit, so it kind of reminds me of Glaciela's. I can think of Soaring Dragon Spear. That's not a
Surefire
Surefire
shot?
Burst. Yeah,
Or
Yeah.
burst, yeah.
yeah. So it's got the same range. It's 3 range. It's got range height of 1. I can't remember what the range height of. I think Surefire Burst is range height 0, if I remember correctly. Purple Dragon's Provenance, the AoE res and the crit evasion, that's not super impactful that I've seen. And he's got a Halting Spear plus that has a chance to stop. It's base 25, so it's kind of but
The piercing's nuts, though. Can you
still,
imagine just hitting
yeah,
like all like if they lined up, just
yeah,
stop, just all the way through?
yeah,
Be
it's crazy.
nuts. Do you
Um,
have him high faith?
I think I have him at 70 or 50.
Okay,
I can't
it's
remember.
kind of like the middling. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want him to take too much damage from like Halloween Little Lilo.
makes
Um,
sense.
Viking subjob, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a Viking subjob. Nightblade, he doesn't get like maiming slash, but he does get double resist. He gets the AP drain, and he's missing the drain rush. So
Hmm.
that's kind of a bummer. So he kind of prioritizes stun blade, which is it's a decent attack. It's an earth slashing attack. So that helps for on an earth slashing team. So but last but not least, Limit Burst, 8-path Dragon Shine. Everybody's seen it. It's all elemental imperil, 20 for 3 turns and a 200 damage modifier. So pretty cool. It's an across AOE and it's got a really good range for an instant cast. So only 48 AP. I think it's clear winner.
Yeah, just going back to one skill earlier, the Royal Rend, the size of that hitbox is
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
intense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a 2x5 hit 10 square. That's so nuts with a range height of
crazy.
1 too. So it's not even just like a flat restricted thing. But being able to start earth chains on units in that kind of area is
Yeah.
pretty sweet. Since he obviously is much more of a frontline. At least he seems like a frontline unit to me.
It's
Very,
really
very
nice that he
cool.
has. It's really nice that he has 50% stop res and 50% stun res. Like he's just not going to get stunned. You don't really see that be a thing too much, but it's nice because you don't really ever see stun resistance. So I think there's only like 1, maybe 2 items we have at the moment that give some kind of resistance to stun. But
You can use Oberon to counter Oberon, so you don't get stopped or stunned.
Yeah, right.
or
I,
to counter like Cecil for his stun LB or something. I don't know.
if I recall, didn't stun used to not even be listed on the possible
Yeah, I don't
resistances?
think.
Yeah,
I think it got
I think
updated
so.
when Frostbite came out,
Yeah.
so they added both. Yeah, like there used to be nothing that resisted it, not even characters. I don't think. So let me double check myself here, but on the index, I don't think there's that many units with it. Granted, I agree. It's not something. Yeah, there's 3 units with resist, and it's Glaciella, the newer one, Oberon, and Farm. So 3 very recent units are the only ones that resisted at all. Because I've always found, even though it's not great, in a pinch where you need to gamble on a like crowd control effect or you lose, I always go, I'm like, oh, I have Blade Bash or I have Stunning Strike or something. Like those are the ones that are pretty solid. Well, not solid necessarily, they're not that great, but they're always something that could happen
Yeah,
on hit. So
and it's always important to remember. You only have one roll of the dice for this status effect. Even though it's like 2 hits, it doesn't roll individually for those 2 hits. It's just straight like one shot to
right.
stun. But yeah, 2 hits. It's awesome for a piercing attack.
Yeah. Anything else
I,
about
I
Oberon? Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, I like his young Dragon King sub job more than like Nightblade because I really like the subjugating spear because it lowers Earth resist by 30%. Which yeah,
It's an
that's
AoE too.
insane.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's a yeah he it's a nice AoE attack and also has like that +1 range, +1 height because everything else is just range height 1. So this is nice that it's range height 1 and AoE height 2. Sorry, AoE height 1 more. I also really like the like Tracer plus Soaring Dragon Spear. So I left mine at level 1. I have him at 115 actually, but I left the Soaring Dragon Spear at level 1. And if you have him at like 112 agility or more, you can basically always be in the air when it's your turn, and when he lands, he gets to go right again. So like you can basically set up a chain that he uses Soaring Dragon Spear and so I haven't tested like you mentioned that if you change to a different elevation, you can evade it. But somebody else told me that you can't evade it. I haven't. I forgot to test it myself. But I have you tested it?
Um,
Like,
I've I was going off of what other people have come across. Like they mentioned it in the Discord. So,
oh, they did.
um,
Okay,
but yeah, I mean, for me, it's hearsay. But like I trust but
yeah,
verify. But I
right,
mean,
yeah,
they have said that it works that way. So I
okay,
obviously. But I'm
yeah.
glad that you mentioned that because I wanted to leave it at for you. So before we left, like we were making this content for you guys. So like obviously we don't want to like forget to mention that very important thing about his only jump skill.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I mean, it's such a nice skill because obviously his highest damage modifier because once you level it up, he gets decreased pierce resistance from 10 to 25. And regardless of like, the actual damage, that minus 25% is going to increase his overall damage output by a lot. So if you leave it at 20, he's going to do like an insane amount of damage. But it's going to be like, at level 1, you can create that continuous loop where he's just in the air, and as soon as he lands, he takes his own turn. So it's up to you. I mean, I left it at level 1 because I want to play around with that right now. But I can also see the case for level 20. Yeah.
Now, does the 24 AP scare you at all? Like, so the fact that it costs 24, did you just have to like use bells and then do the loop, the jumping bean
No,
loop, or?
I find that so how I set it up was like his shield already gives like a lot of AP. I mean, it's 20 TP skill, and with the tracer passive, which gives you
Hmm.
increased acquired AP. And I think his vision card also gives him an additional 30% increased acquired AP. So I don't really have like I don't even need bells. I think like 2 buffs and he can do it, but 1 buff he can do it like 2 times already, which is usually somebody dies with 2 of these attacks.
Or like you combine it with his LB. You get the Pierce res down and then the all elemental down. Yeah, just crazy
It's cool too, because if he's following who
stacking.
he's locked onto, if they group up weird, you can just Royal Rend like
Oh
their
my
entire
god.
group. It's just like
Yeah,
they're running away, run away, and then he just drops next to him. Nope. It sets up the
yeah.
chain, and then you have like whatever. I mean, whatever kind of follow up from whether it's Sazan, Katone, or whoever. Pretty sweet. That's That's something I'll mess around with, I guess. Once I get him up there, I had to just slow build him though. He's a really cool unit, but there's too many things coming up that I want to save for, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
spend minimally on the game. So between RNA and Golbez on the horizon, it's like so. Yeah, is that all notes on Oberon? And then we'll move on to the card that came along with him. So, all right, someone's gotta we gotta commit to a pronunciation here. Anybody have
The
any idea?
stag,
The
the
stag? Yeah,
stag,
right. Well, isn't that
Yeah, it's just
I feel like the stag is what's his face? Jaden.
Jaden, yeah.
so I like to default to like I don't know, maybe it's because of like taking Spanish in college and stuff, but like um the emphasis on the second to last syllable. So I say Eleficaris.
We just call it like Zach
Elf-
Galifianakis.
That the thought crossed my mind. It's eerily similar. I don't know where they got this name from. I don't know like what the inspiration for it was, but I mean it's too specific of a name to be like, yeah, they just fucking put syllables together.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, that's what they did. They're like, this name, this name, this name. They had all these ideas. They're scratching their head. They're like, take a syllable from each one, call it a day. And that's what we're going to have. I have no idea if there's like a source of this from another game, but it is a pretty sweet vision card overall. So
it's worth the name.
Yeah, right. Rampaging Ore Beast. Let's call it the Ore Beast, I guess. Or wait, ROE. Call it Row. Anyway, HP 322, so decent level there. Attack 147, middle of the road. Agility 3, we love to see that. Any flat agility on a vision card gets us excited. Then all these effects are mono earth. There's no specific like Oberon only or any other thing only. I have the chat open now, so I saw what you typed. Normally I don't see what Daniel types until after the podcast, but now that I have two windows, talking about fish eggs. So unit effects, you get 10 man-eater, or human killer, whatever fuck term we're using now, because I've seen it all the ways. Increase HP by, looks like 15%, if my math is correct. Those are both solid. Generally, they work on pretty much everyone. The only thing is, I guess, if you're fighting the near units, you don't get the human killer bonus. But then also... Okay, wait. So this says Condition Earth. Is this supposed to be Oberon?
No, I don't think so.
Why are these split up like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird. Anyway,
maybe they changed it from JP.
Additional acquired AP 30%. So that's what you were mentioning, Locke, where the card plus the passive. That's 70%. That's so much AP. Holy shit.
JP doesn't get the AP up.
Oh, is that a global buff to the card then? Okay.
Yeah.
Feels good to be on global, I guess, right? But so then party ability wise, I think this is one of the biggest draws. So it gives the single target resistance by 20%, and then also the agility by 8. Both of those together is a super good combination. And then rounding it out, the max bonus is Pierce Attack 35. So this card is clearly Oberon themed, but I think that it's pretty decent on just most generic Earth teams. Yeah, like you may not get the most use out of the Pierce Attack if you don't have a unit that, obviously you don't have a unit that uses Pierce, but the rest of those abilities are solid. So yeah. I'm a big fan of this card. I wasn't able to put resources into it, so I don't have it currently. Did you, Locke, you obviously got it, and then Daniel, did you as well or no?
No, I'm still waiting on it.
Non-limited, so you just kind of skipped it. Yep.
I was talking earlier about like Catone, Halloween Fred, and Oberon, and I think I said Halloween Monsters on Catone, but I actually meant Eleficaris, because the Human Killer 10 and the HP up on bestowed on Catone just really helps her Drain Force, and the fact that she get 30% more required AP, is just icing on the cake.
That's a really good point, yeah. And the 3 agility just always helps out.
Yeah, exactly.
Letting her lap people around. But along with the vision card, you of course get the Esper. So this one we can't call Row because it's just an E. So Zach Galifianakis has 19 agility, which I didn't realize when I first looked at this Esper. Someone put a picture of it max. I'm like, oh, cool, nice. Then like I went back to the chat later, and that was like still the most recent picture. And my eye caught that 19. I was like, holy shit, wait, what? So this thing is fast. It has 25 disable resist as its max bonus. Just those two things alone make me excited. So
yeah.
Again, I don't have this. However, Locke, have you maxed it? And what would you kind of recommend as its layout?
Yeah, it's I did max the Esper, and I really like the Esper more than the card, so I really want to get the Esper. I mean, obviously, it's very good for Earth units, right? Because it has increased Earth attack 20, and then for Oberon, it also has increased Pierce attack, and
it's 25, right?
Is it 25?
15.
So yeah, sorry, it's 25 Earth, right?
Yeah, 25.
And 15 Pierce. Right. But what I really like about this Esper itself is that, like, for Odin is very good for, for PvP, right? Because it has Man-Eater. But this thing has Nether Beast Killer, which is like Esper Killer. and most of the raids that we're doing is Espers. So you can have a 19 agility Esper killer with this, right? And I think that's like I think this is a really good Esper to just use for raids because most of the raids just turn out to be Espers anyway. So I think it's really good. And typically I would if I'm using this on Oberon, I would use like increase Earth attack and I think increase Pierce attack and then the crit accuracy and crit damage. I don't know about missile resist. It depends on the map. Like I mean, for CM, I probably go missile resist because I'll probably see a lot of missile anyway. But you have to kind of choose when you're going to use what. Right now, it's like right now I think I have it on like Lightning Killer and Esper Killer because I was doing the raids with it. But I think it's very solid. I mean, with the 19 agility, and then there are so many Earth units that are good that you can use this on, and then there's also its use in raids, and then disable resist. Like it's one of the best espers in my opinion. Like the use for it is just huge.
I mean, even just the earth resistance on it could be decent if you're using it on an earth unit going against the mirror. Like this last class match, imagine if you had this in the mirror going the like triple earth teams or whatever, like having that extra, what is that up to? It's another 15% earth resist. So that's just solid to have on top of that too when those units are meta. And like you were saying, even if I mean, this is just a good Esper overall. You can take the Earth attack off if it's on a non-Earth unit, and then have the Earth resist on top of the killer's Pierce attack on just a general Pierce unit. Maybe I don't know about the crit part, but I can imagine just the attack percent, Earth resist, Pierce attack, and then whatever missile resist you can get. So yeah,
Not to mention
kind of sad I didn't get it.
The evocation is crazy too. Like putting it on like a non-piercing attack Earth unit, so that they can participate in the the Earth pierce attack like stacking. Not only is it 2 hits, but it's base 67% chance to confuse. So it's like an Agrius LB. There's the Earth Imperil 50, and just the attack and magic buff for Earth units 100%. It's just like one thing after another for this evocation ability. So it's called rampaging, right? I really like it, and maybe it's just because it's 2 hits, but just like on top of everything, like it's one of the best Esper evocations.
And the 100% hit's always nice, which is most of
Yeah,
the evocations. I know there's a couple exceptions, but
most
it's
of
nice to
the
see that it's
at
still
least
okay.
the most of the UR ones, yeah, or at least the ones that weren't like on release.
Right. Yeah. Lock, any last thoughts on this one?
No, that's it. But because I mean the Esper evocation is nice, but it feels like the only benefit that you get from leveling up the evocation is the damage, right? So you can still have a 67% chance to confuse with the level 1 skill.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just really nice. Yeah.
I mean, even then, the non-level is what 165. Like,
Yeah.
seems fine. after all those other buffs are added on top. That's nuts. Imagine if this was a skill on a unit. It'd be like the most busted unit. Like,
No.
be stupid. But okay, now let's go on. I guess while we're on the topic of espers, let's talk about the white dragon real quick. So, this was acquired via the raid, and then you could get the shard. Wait, was the shard? The shards had like the mission on the side, right? I always
Yeah,
forget these things. Feels like it's been
Scorpion.
forever. It's a light only card. Kind of okay HP at 220. It's a split attack and magic at 74 and 82, and then 45 dex is nice. The bestowed is magic 15% and accuracy 15 also. Decent. The party effect is dark resistance 15, crit rate 9, and then the max bonus is 15% HP. A lot of HP on this one. Yeah, meh. It's an MR card. If you are cost restricted for some reason, I could see this being an option. I could also see this if you're trying to specifically target a dark team as a light team. Maybe I'd have to look through the rest of the cards. I have a feeling it's not the best option, but maybe that dark 15 could come in handy. But unless you guys have any other things to add about this, I think that's really all to mention here. Nothing really PvP related in my brain comes up for this one.
No, I'd like to talk about the Esper though.
Yes, so do so.
So yeah, honestly, the White Dragon Esper is one of the best MR like magic Espers in my opinion. I'm just gonna go straight out and just say that. It's got 15 agility at max level, and its evocation isn't really that great. It's got a big range, but it's like you don't really choose MR Espers for their evocations, It's guaranteed hit though. 30% base chance to immobilize. You're probably not going to crit with it, but there's still a chance to. 20% stun resist. And for MR Espers, I believe it's instead of 25, you get 20% for whatever their status res is. So a 20% stun, I mean, it's, you're not always going to see stun, but you're not always going to see stun res. So, maybe it's got its niche uses against, Oberon, for instance. It's 25% base chance to stun. But moving on to its skill tree is what I was looking forward to. It's got, what is that, 25% magic up. You don't really see that for magic espers. You see maybe more often you're going to see like magic attack, and that's only up to like 10 or something. This has 15 magic attack. So being able to buff magic and magic attack is really nice. Not to mention, it's one of the few like MR Espers and lower that has increased crit damage. It's got 15 once you get it to like level 99 or whatever, or from 2-star to 3-star. And it's got pierce resistance and slash resistance. So like it's a very versatile MR Esper in my opinion. You can just go like for Odin. It reminds me of Odin. It's not as fast, doesn't have the man killer, but it's got 2 different resistances. As well as like you can spec it for defense or offense with just magic attack, dark killer. Yeah, I really like it.
Anything else? All right, now for
No,
the speed.
he's covered it.
Okay,
I said
now,
no. He's covered it. Yeah.
now for the speedrun section of the podcast here. Stop me if you have anything to say, otherwise we're gonna blast through these. So we have 3 EX upgrades that I don't think any of us have firsthand experience with. But maybe something comes up while we're talking. So Naya is the first one. Her first upgrade is Firaga, goes to Firaga Benevolent. It is the same amount of heal, but it restores CT by 100 for allies, or 10 basically. That is super cool. It also looks like it gets, is that +1 or 2 range? Holy shit. So, and +1 range, which is just bonkers. So, really cool upgrade there. I'm always down to see CT boosts. Regen also gets upgraded. So it is a targeted instead. So the magnitude of HP regenerated is the same, but she can cast it not just centered on herself, which is actually pretty huge, because I think one of the biggest weaknesses of regen historically is that it has a cast time and it has to be in a plus around the caster. So just positioning that has been very difficult, but this kind of, I'm not going to say solves it, but definitely helps alleviate that sort of limitation. Then her last bonus is really cool, actually. So maybe there's a lot more to talk about with her than I thought, but she gets Reflect. So I believe this is the same as Carbuncle, where you get just whatever the next magic skill that hits you is reflected back. That's a pretty sweet skill. And then it increases healing power by 30 for self, which is nice to have in the background. And then you guys sent me a picture earlier where Naya had over 2,000 magic. Now, granted, this team loadout did have 5 units. I don't know if buffs were involved. I can't tell if it's first turn or whatever it is, but that's still an insane value, even if that is buffed up. Like 2,107 magic is nothing to scoff at. So I was going to speed through this, but those are actually really insane upgrades.
Shout out to Adol for that image, by the way.
Why does who is she really not? No one's using her really. Reflect is nuts.
Yeah,
she doesn't have the best agility, although obviously the screenshot
she got 82 in this picture.
82, yeah. But she's not hitting anything, and then she's hitting with the holy, which fortunately she has on her main job, so you don't have to worry about sub job white mage for that. But I mean, yeah, she's gonna be like a piece of paper if she gets hit. So
yeah, sub red mage on her, right, for Fyra and Asuna.
That's all I've ever used her for is a red mage sub on like tower or whatever, like low levels.
Well, about the Asuna, which I guess, does she get that main? Yeah, she has a main job, so I guess it doesn't matter. But man, you gotta use cleric. Get that prong staff in there. Light veil and dark veil. No, I mean, these are actually, I did not realize. So I thought we were just gonna speed through these because I haven't really heard a whole lot about it. But apparently, I don't know, man. Those are insane. Like extra range and CT on Firaga plus. It looks like it's the same cast time, but ranged regen and then reflect. I think she's the only unit that has reflect right now. So that's really cool. Granted, she only gets one use, but outside
So
of
I saw a
Carbuncle.
lot of talk about her, but it was when her EX came out in JP, and then I mean, then a lot of people are like, "Wow, it's crazy!" Like like
Mm-hmm.
because her base magic increased by a lot, which is why she can get up to insane magic values. And then, but I mean, now I guess like people are kind of starved for blossoms, right? So I think that's why people aren't investing in her as much. Like we just had like Halloween hit, and then we have Oberon, and then we have Final Fantasy 15 coming up. Like there, people are just starved for blossoms. I think that's why they're not. But I think we'll probably see her, especially in class match, later on. Like I think it's just a time right now where people don't have the blossoms. But I think as we go on, I think more and more people invest in her.
I think
That's what I think.
this makes me excited for like PvP matches with no URs. Because like you can make a really sick mono fire like tricks team between Naya, Mish, and then just like whether it's Adelard or Seymour or something. Like I mean even Margaret I think is getting her EX of I think that she just came out in JP, so we'll have it eventually here. But like these
Dude,
lower rarity fire units are sick.
imagine if her upgraded Firaga was 50 to 100 actual CT, like a Keen Blade.
She
Except for
said Keyblade heal.
Keen Blade is 50. If this was
Oh
actually
my
like just like
god.
a quicken Kiraga, like holy
I think
shit,
that's
man.
why it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like here,
Um,
have
it'd be
full
nice if
health
it was like,
and go in.
yeah, it'd be nice if it was like even like 25 CT. But the fact that it's only like 5 to 10, it's kind of like,
Yeah,
eh,
it's gonna be 10. Let's be honest here, right? It's gonna be maxed
yeah,
out. But I mean, it's crazy range too. Like she can run away and still support the team, and then also
yeah.
the CT goes up. Oh man, fire elements like the CT manipulation, like king. Like almost every fire unit's got something. But all right, moving on to Adelard. Maybe we can't speedrun this. Are these gonna be cool too? So his passive, his initial AP up passive gets upgraded. So instead of it just being 15, it's now an additional 30, and then also gives him a 30% magic buff. That seems pretty good for Red Mage. I know that was kind of a complaint in the past. Black Mage versus Red Mage type thing. Besides, they get jamming thrust, so they're usually better. But his jamming thrust gets upgraded, so it's still a 200 damage mod, but it reduces the counter chance by 100 for whoever he targets, which is before the hit. So unless it's reflexed, it will then prevent future things like reflexes or other reactions. That's pretty cool. I would have liked to maybe see another a small damage buff or something to help out, but the skill's already cranked as is. So I mean, I guess it's kind of fair. Then his other upgrade, or I guess his job 25 skill rather, is Firaga Incarnate, which is a badass name. It is a 185 damage mod, of course, in the Firaga AoE, which is only a 3+1, but it decreases magic attack by 40 for targets, so it's kind of like an anti-mage ability. Granted, they have to be using magic attack, so it doesn't work for like Elena, Jade, and those kind of units, but, well, except for their subs. But yeah, less exciting.
Check out the
Anything?
cast time.
360?
Yeah, it's
Is
a
that
cast
short
time of
for Firaga?
yeah. Firaga is normally 200. This is the
Oh,
cast
okay.
time of a regular fire.
Okay, so that's at least nice. Got the 34 AP, not bad. I guess, yeah, those upgrades together actually work pretty well. All the magic up, and then plus the AP up for this expensive skill, but yeah, cool upgrade. Nothing super crazy. So unless you guys have notes, move on to Salir, OG Salir. So her upgrades, her magic level 1 passive goes to Black Arcana. Cool name. Same amount of magic, but it gives her 40% magic resist pen. So she's kind of getting updated to sort of the new standard baseline, which is pretty nice. Keep her relevant. Her flare gets upgraded. Same cost. The first thing I actually looked at for flare was, does it still cost 50 AP? It sure does. But this is another one where it's a reduced counter chance. So they came out at the same time. They have similar upgrades. Nothing else. I think I would have liked, actually, wait, cast time? Nope, cast time same. I would have liked to see this get a reduced AP cost, but oh well. Then her last ability is Bolt Surge, so it has a pretty long range of 5 with a range height of 3, which is interesting for a spell. 185 damage mod, and pre-dealing damage decreases single target resist by 30, so this probably hits pretty hard. Cause she's always had a decent magic value. In between these passives, EX upgrade, everything, like this skill's gotta actually hurt. And it's a faster cast of 360, so pretty cool ability. I don't think it I don't think I'm gonna max her anytime soon, but I wouldn't be sad to have her with these upgrades. But yeah, now we're up to the last three things here. So 2 of them are items, and the last one is this week's unit farm. So Tourmaline Ring. Do either of you have anything passionate to talk about with this one? I have been very lazy the past few weeks with my building, so I'm very behind on items, and this is one of them. So I don't have any sort of personal experience with this. But I will say increasing jump by 1 for 1 turn. Nice for openers sometimes, but like you could strand yourself if you don't really plan it ahead of time. Like imagine being a jump 1 unit, you go up to like buff somebody on a low cliff thing, you have to like take 3 turns to walk down. Like you gotta be careful with this kind of thing. The 20% dex increase though is pretty cool. It's not like a timed one either. You just like always on. It's nice. 3 agility flat is also pretty cool. Looks like it's equipable by everybody. Version wise here though, man, 10 accuracy is just so, we've talked about this so many times on the podcast. It's such a weird amount and so low. Even if it's your secondary, you're only getting like half. So I think I'd have to go with barrier just to have a little bit of resistance, but I don't know, man. This item does not make me super excited. Is there something you guys have seen or heard of that is better than what I'm making it out to be? I feel like this is where I am the most flawed on the podcast. Is you guys always have this like, oh, but you're wrong because this is great. And I'm like, oh shit, like the Ranger code I
Honestly,
misread. And it was nuts.
the only thing that I can think of is for those class match maps that like it's kind of integral to your strategy to get to the high like map elevation in order to, I don't know, sharpshoot or something. Being able to get there on turn 1, possibly, I think is what might push us over the top. Like, man, I wish I had another like jump buff besides Katone's TMR. So I can see that, especially with the dex buff for rangers or whatever, for ranged like attackers. Generally like dex is like their highest stat for damage. But yeah, I don't know if I can really see this taking the place of other pieces of gear.
I guess the one talk about is Snowy Fields, what it's called, right? Where you spawn behind that initial wall. I guess if all you need to do on that first turn to rush them or something is to have the jump in order to get over that initial wall, and then you don't care after turn 1. That's,
Yeah,
I guess, when I would see it applied. And yeah, like you said, instead of having to use Katone TMR or something to go longer.
or
'Cause I
Fred
think I'm
Shikuchi or something.
right. I think specifically on that map, um, once you get over that wall, there's not really a whole lot of other places unless you want to go over the opposite wall that you
Yeah,
need to have jump to. You can kind of like maneuver around. So without obviously going like 3 turns around like that wall is sometimes.
I
So
don't think that map is like
yeah.
you don't really need to have a defensive item, so that could work.
Yeah, so it's like very, very niche situations like that I could see. Locke, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like extremely niche, such that I mean, I have 5 recipes to make 5 plus zeros of these. Like I might need it for like PvP or PvE sometimes even, like because something is just there's a wall in front of you or something, and you want an extra jump first turn. But it's just so niche that I don't even want to make a +5 of this, so I just just farm 5 recipes and call it a day.
That's fair.
Use 3 like
Uh,
agility hammers just to get
yeah.
the agility or something.
So yeah, I guess that follow up then you don't really care what version. It's just mainly if you for some reason need that
Exactly.
jump for some special map. But the versions are just not that great. Like all the stats,
Yeah.
like the health is kind of low, the spirits meh, the accuracy's meh. If you build the vital version, bless you. Like it's just not a great item unless we get some content that's like limited. You can't use UR items. Maybe this finds a place then. I don't know, but not super excited. Something that is cool though, a little more unique, is the Azure Dragon Armor. So a recent raid item here. It has vital shield of barrier versions with the shield being a whopping 20 defense with no negative agility, which is nice. Like there's evade down, but sure, deal. I probably wouldn't do the barrier version because the spirit's only 4 on barrier, and then the drop to 10 defense just not worth it. I, however, could see a vital version because of its passive. So its +5 version gives you 15% increased HP for self. There are definitely okay. Well, I was gonna say there's definitely something, but maybe not because it's only equipable by spearmane jobs. which makes it really limited. So in my brain, I think like Eileen Drain Force, and that's like where it stops because she has Drain Force, correct?
It does, yeah.
So like that's about where I go with that. But the Berserk resistance by 50 and Charm by 50 is pretty relevant for PvP, I think. But you can do that at +0. So what did you guys build for these? What was kind of your reasoning? Do you want to build more of them? Lock, start with you.
I farmed 63 recipes and I haven't decided. So
Okay.
I just make sure that I have enough to like I have all the materials needed to build it when I'm going to build it. But I just farmed the 63 and just left it. But I'm leaning towards the defense one, like the shield one. Um, I don't know because like so with Oberon specifically, right? Like he has stop resist. Like he's probably the most common unit, especially the most common like spear type unit that we're gonna see for a bit. So he already has stop resistance, but he doesn't have disable, and I feel like I really want the disable resist on him. So I what did I put? He his Esper gives him disable resist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
damn it. I didn't have the Esper when I was doing PvP builds with him. So I put the disabled ring on him, but if I take that off, then I could put this on him. So I'll probably build this soon. I'll probably build a shield version for him. And yeah.
I
That's
think it's only another like 200 HP, which I mean it's a
yeah.
decent amount of HP, but for the difference of 15 defense, I mean if they don't have defense pen, that's gonna probably save you more than that 2 to 300 HP. So I think shield would be what I would go with as well. But Daniel, what did you do?
So I haven't built it yet, mostly just because I've been stockpiling my armor and accessory books. I've like really taken advantage of these like double drop book events. Um, Honestly, I like it the most on like OG Glaciella. She doesn't have charm resist or berserk resist, and being able to have that to like rely on for, I don't know, like maybe not for double quicken Glaciella teams because like her first 3 turns are just going to go by, but it helps her against Kingmont with obviously she has the elemental advantage, but like Kingmont can get the berserk off on her with his LB, but this negates that, and especially the lack of charm resistance. And this really helps out with that, for like worrying about like a OG Zazan on the other team or something. Just being able to just like chuck a spirit and be like, no, like I don't care about you anymore for first 3 turns. I think it's an interesting manual PvP option, and I don't really say that often for gear in recent memory. So I haven't built it, but I expect to build it at some point, especially because of that HB passive. I mean, like you said, like that's mostly for Eileen, but really every unit can benefit from it
Right.
that can
Yeah.
actually equip it.
My first thought was like, oh, heavy armor, HP, Drain Force, and I was like, oh shit, wait
Yeah,
a
yeah,
second, Pierce units. So it's like at least Eileen was there to kind of catch my fall on that one. But I know Kane is getting his EX when FF4 comes out again, so maybe he'll be able to make use of it. It'll just be a like super beef
right.
monster. But at the same time, I missed that it was for 3 turns for the resistances.
Yeah,
I wish it was like 50% for 3 turns and it like dropped to like 15% or something,
something.
like 25 hours
Yeah.
would be ideal, but like even if it dropped lower, just to kind of give you that you don't really have a whole loss pass, especially because it is so niche. Only 5 jobs can use it, 3 of which only 1 unit has because they're like special main
Main
jobs.
jobs. Yeah.
So like yeah, I feel like the effect is more limited than it needs to be for how limited the applications are. But
Yeah, honestly, like it's a pipe dream, but I'm really holding out hope for like one day, maybe years down the line or something, they decide like, hey, let's let units equip equipment for each sub job and not just their main sub job.
well, they're
But
doing that for the vision card abilities, right?
I
So
know, right?
yeah.
Like maybe there's hope. I mean, one day, I don't know, like Ziza can wear this or something.
I was gonna say, wait a second, I could put this on Grace. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
exactly.
That'd be a little weird.
Or Thancred. So yeah, it'd be cool.
Or at least if your main job can wear armor and you have a pierce sub job, then you could wear it. That kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like maybe not. Don't let your black mage with a random lancer sub wear it, but or Phoebe could wear this.
Can
She
you
has
imagine?
dragoon,
Right?
dragoon with the fucking dragon armor.
So maybe one day, but I think that'll probably throw a wrench in Gumi's plans because that would probably include like weapons and stuff, and so that would change
A
up a
little
lot of
weird.
things. So maybe one anniversary or something down the line.
Sure.
Anyways,
Last update topic, which we have made impressive time getting through all of these. I know we skipped out on a lot of stuff, but I think we've touched on most of the important things. But farm, have either of you gone for farm?
I
I
have
know,
not.
Locke, you said you're kind of in saving mode, right? So,
Yep.
and then Daniel, you have not either.
I did my usual like go to step 3 on the 9 step. I'm glad we got a 9 step this time. Like
Yeah.
I think we missed that on like Oberon or something. I can't remember. Recently there was one that didn't get a 9 step. Maybe it was Frederica. Anyways, I did a couple like single pulls just because for the lulls. Like I've gotten like 2 or 3 units on single pulls recent in like the recent months. So, but yeah, she's not a limited unit, and I'll pick her up eventually. And my water team is doing fine without her.
I think with these newer units too, when they don't have special main jobs, like she's just like ninja samurai ranger. By now we know that the pattern of their skills is basically the same for all of them. For main jobs anyway. So we can just talk about her upgrades too, I think, for in terms of like what she has different than other main job ninjas that we're used to. Granted, I mean she might have some stats that are worth talking about. She does have disable resist, confusion resist. Two of those, they are pretty prevalent. And she's the other unit that has like the weird 10% stun, so that's cool that she kind of has that slice of that pie, but nothing crazy. Her shuriken's kind of nuts. So this thing dispels courage, dispels re-raise, does the same damage, and also decreases their accuracy by 30. This is the most cranked 12 AP spammable skill I've ever seen.
Ridiculous.
Like, this is so nuts. She throws a little ninja star at you and just like, oh, I guess I'll die now. Like, I guess I stay dead. Like, this is actually kind of crazy for countering a lot of those either Elena teams with like I've been seeing a lot of like Yuna, Engelbert, Elena, which is fucking annoying, like all of re-raise and immortal spirit type stuff. She just throws a shuriken at each one of them and just turn all of that off. Then yeah, it's just you lose your thing and you lose your thing. Or even the Mono Earth teams. Like this is actually just an incredible upgrade. I would probably rate this in top 5 upgrades of like units in the game. Probably this is just insane. And the range 5 naturally on shuriken just makes it so gross. The only thing about this skill is I believe it is blocked by terrain, right? We learned that way back in the day where you can't like throw it through pillars or something. So like that's
Yeah.
a weakness of it, but sure. Like it's so good anyways. Dream Within
Range
Dream.
5.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly. And non-elemental, so like water resist doesn't even do anything to it. But it turns into Demise Within a Dream, which is
So cool.
quite the name. Same everything, range height same, cost, 3 hits, all that. But it is now a spirit and defense break by 30. Yep. Seems pretty good. These main job upgrades are pretty intense. I don't know. This is nice. I wish I had a lot more liquid Visor right now to just like build her on a whim because these are really cool. But then her job 25 skill, Sign of Safeguarding. I hope when she does it, she makes like a ninja sign or something. I haven't seen her use it, but if it's gonna be called that, I hope she does. But as a cross AoE buff centered on herself, increases accuracy by 30, AoE resistance by 15, and magic resistance by 20. The first 2 being for allies, and the third one being for herself, with a pretty sizable 36 TP cost, so she gets a decent amount of AP from that. Yeah, overall, a lot more of an impressive unit than I was really giving her credit for a while. But that shuriken is just insane. And I guess to touch on it real quick, her sub job, level 12 skills. So Samurai, she gets the Oborozuki as her option. So it's the AoE slow hit around you. Then for Ranger, she gets Shadowbind. So she doesn't have Barrage to kind of chain with missile teams if you have her. But even without that, I mean, she has Sharpshoot on her Ranger sub. If you put her with Winter Victora, Lara Croft, like she could actually chain along with them on that and then approach and do her shuriken shenanigans. But And then also I do like the name of her LB as well, Plumage Pummel. It's a water imperil by 25, 200 damage mod, and a chance to paralyze with a 67%. So that's pretty decent. Range of 2 though. I don't know. I feel like I'd be doing other things if I was within that close, especially like Demise Within a Dream, for example, seems a lot better if you can get that one extra space moved up. I also didn't realize that that skill only costs 17 AP. Dream Within a Dream. For some reason, I thought it cost a lot more. That's she's very AP efficient. Have you guys seen her at all in Arena or anything else yet to kind of see how powerful she is, or
I have
just
not.
seems so very good?
I think a lot of people are in save mode right now, which is unfortunate because I mean she does look like a pretty effective water unit that has reflex
Oh, that's true. She has
and
reflex. Oh god, I didn't even
sharpshoot.
forgot about that. Damn it. She's
Like you're probably gonna
16th
see
for
her on
luck.
Ranger sub. Yeah, I saw that too. So they're basically an evasive like sharpshooter.
With reflex. It's
And
like all the worst combinations
and
ever.
a 12 AP thing that removes your re-raise
Yeah.
and Immortal Spirit in one shot. Like,
And water
very good
imperil
unit.
LB and paralyze, and she has a lot of tools in her kit, and that's really cool to see. Obviously, from a manual perspective, like as usual.
So yet again, water element unit gets crazy combinations of utility and awesome things that make us all jealous. But
And then
then we have
just
to
gets
remember
one
they're
shot
water
by lightning
because
units.
we have to, one shot by a
That's
buffed up
yeah.
Frederica.
That's
Ugh!
why I'm like I'm so hesitant to spend on water units in there because I mean like I really play the game only for CM, like that's like the main enjoyment, right? So I remember I got like several of these water units back in the day and I was like very excited to play them. But then I just can't like justify playing them in any CM because I'm like
Water
somebody's
cross.
gonna be playing Federica and I'm just gonna get like decimated. So yeah, I don't know. Like she's so cool. She's very powerful, but I just feel like it's gonna be so hard to just because the way CM ranking works, where you need to build streaks, and even if you beat like 3 Federicas randomly, you'll be probably gonna lose, right? What do you guys think? Do you guys have like similar hesitations with like water units or not
Yes.
really?
Yeah, but I think I said in the
Yes.
past that I regretted building more because she was really cool when she first came out, but then I just realized I'm never actually going to use her in a team. The only water unit I can see myself using right now is Aerith, because of her utility just being so high that it's potentially worth the risk. But I would not play mono water. I would use her on like a mixed team.
She doesn't. She's not the top of my list for CM, obviously. But
Mhm.
there's other aspects of the game that she can be like incredibly useful on, even if it's just like arena or even just like free match stuff. Like I remember, like before Cheeseblade became a thing. This is like December, when it was really just like Lucky and me and like maybe a few other people running Cheeseblade stuff. I was using Glaciella, Winter Ramada, and Ildira. It was a water cheese blade team, and I was having a
That
ton of fun. A ton of fun. It was so cool stacking like water element attacks and slash attacks together, and just like I mean, obviously it's fun to like rub people's faces in the dirt, but it's not fun to have that done to you, So like that's why I initially I stopped doing that. But like you're not always going to be facing lightning teams like all the time in every aspect of the game, so I think you can still enjoy building her if whoever's listening, if you have built her, like obviously you did it for a reason. Like maybe you're Vinny and has like you have a bunch of water units in your roster. You just have to deal with, I don't know, maybe double quickening or whatever, however you deal with lightning teams or don't deal with them. I think she's still a worthwhile unit, so
I think they find ways to really stack missile resistance
yeah,
and even like directly
barriers and
lightning
stuff.
resistance
Yeah,
and barriers. If you can find a way to do that, she could be useful. And
yeah.
she might be another unit. I said the only one I would use is Aerith. That's not true. I would use OG Zazan as well. Those two units, you don't require a lot of investment for them to have high impact. And I actually think that farm may kind of fall in that same boat where that shuriken is so good, along with I mean, if she gets in range because they don't respect her enough to like debuff with the whatever Dream Within a Dream upgrade was called.
Nice
Nice.
injury.
Demise, that's what. Yeah, I almost
Also,
said something else, but
fuck reflex. Gotta
yeah,
include
right.
that.
Yeah, fuck reflex. But she can provide value, I think, even if you're not a like mono water focused team, and she's just there to be the, she sits in the back, and then she comes up, throws a shuriken to remove all their stuff, then you kill them with whatever your other units are. She might actually fall into that, which could be kind of cool. Which I guess, to be fair, Dira, Miranda, Aerith, Farm, even Titus to an extent, and then OG Zazan can all kind of have that argument made, I suppose, where they have utility outside of just being, water element damage dealers. So, it's definitely a rough life, but it's.
I mean, yeah, Lockyer Point is undeniable, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
In terms of manual PvP, so yeah, definitely can't downplay that.
Also, I think we should mention that, I mean, there are several units that are coming out that also does have like dispelling these like courage and re-raise stuff, and also Noctis is his secondary effect also does something like that too, right? One of his skills. So I mean, like this is very cool. Like it's the first unit that can do both with like a 12 AP cost thing. It's very nice.
Definitely a FOMO thing you fall into. Yeah.
Yeah, she's worth slow building basically.
Yeah.
Or fast building, depending on what you like.
Build it all. No. I'm actually looking. What are the elements? Or well, I don't want to get too deep into this. We're getting up in there in length. I was gonna say what the elements the FF15 units all were. I know Noctis is Earth and RNA is Ice, but beyond that, I don't really remember.
Amto is Dark.
Yeah. Do we get Gladiolus?
No, that's just the 3.
Okay. So, anyway, we'll touch on those when they do come out. But for now, do you guys have any wrapping up thoughts? I know, Daniel, you probably do. So we'll go first.
Yeah, obviously we're looking, like we mentioned way earlier, we're looking forward to class match this week. So, yeah, hopefully we get it on Wednesday. I don't care if it's during Thanksgiving or whatever. I'm just gonna get in our matches. Hopefully you get in your matches. There's still a couple days to prep for it. Once we get the news tomorrow, if we get it. So yeah, jump on the Discord if you haven't yet. We have all the info for that there. I haven't checked it in a while, so I can't remember offhand. But hopefully, obviously that's what keeps us playing. A lot of the time is class match stuff. So good luck in advance. If we don't we're not. I don't think we're expecting to record this Wednesday. That's what you said, right?
Most likely not. No, because
Yeah,
holiday stuff going on. But
yeah, we won't have any initial first thoughts to record, but I mean, we're obviously going to be talking about it on the Discord. So yeah, hopefully you get the ranking you're looking for. That's it.
Undefeated. Like any last thoughts?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you for watching. I've been Zach Bro.
I've been Dana Boone.
And I've been Luck.
And we'll see you next time.